Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very rare live appearance. I am Nick from the Phoenix Press. Today we have a very special event, but let's get our guest of honor here. We have the Gravedigger himself, Hester. How you doing, buddy?
How you doing, Nick? Glad to be on the show.
Oh, it is an honor to have the embodiment of death himself upon my screen.
Oh no, I'm not that guy. I'm just I'm a little bit lower on the totem pole. Believe me, I deal with it every day.
Oh, you're scary, my friend. So you sent me this, and here in a few minutes we're going to unbox it, and I'm gonna go all the oohs and the ahs. You're gonna tell me I have not opened this, so this arrived at my house yesterday, and it's kind of just been sitting here waiting for this moment, and we're gonna do it live on the air, and it's gonna be pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I figured you were gonna peek or something.
No. I'm honorable when
I know the temptation must have been unbearable.
Oh, you have no idea. I had to sacrifice 3 goats just to keep those demons at bay.
Okay.
3 goats.
That's quite a bit.
So for the people who don't know you, before we kind of get into this, tell us a little about yourself, please.
Well, I am Castor the Gravedigger. I host the Boneyard on the YouTubes, and I also have do a lot of posting on Twitter. But I am a mod enthusiast, sage, superstar, gravedigger, and I do it all.
Do you dig graves?
Well, that's implied. Yes. Well, I mean, not anymore. I have henchmen to do that menial task now. But yes, at one point I did. I'm kind of the boss man right now.
Well, that's good. You're raising up in the ranks. I respect that.
Yes.
So, YouTube and whatnot, we'll be promoting that shortly. I'm sure he'll have links he'll want to share with all you wonderful people. But so this thing, which he sent to me, shall we get into it?
Sure.
I brought out my fancy knife, my trusty knife.
Good. It's always has a nice sharp weapon on you.
Yes. Trying to be careful here. Don't want to turn this into a snuff stream. I know you're a fan. I know you're a fan of those, but I'm sorry. This is PG-13. It's not not a snuff stream.
Okay.
You certainly taped this well. I'll give you that much.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want anything. I didn't want anything to get opened up or anything like that on the way there. Thought I would just tell the audience I'll go ahead and tell the audience that pretty much. I know at one point you were kind of feeling bad about retro gaming and stuff, and I thought, well, you know what, I have a few things lying around that I could send and maybe start you on your retro gaming adventure.
Yeah, I used to be a huge retro game collector. Then I kind of sold stuff off. I still have some good stuff. I should have grabbed it. All right. Oh my God! I'm looking at the first thing. I'm looking at the first thing, and I'm like, bro.
Yeah, I seen how you kind of wanted that. I won that off of Facebook. Yes, I won that off of Facebook raffle. Got it for $10, and I figured, you know what, hell, I'll just throw it in there.
I've actually been thinking about grabbing this, but holy crap!
Well, there you go.
You know what I'm. All right, just so it's Metroid Prime Remastered. That's the first thing. Off to a good start, I'll say.
Yeah.
Trying to just manage this. Okay. Put it
Truth be told, yesterday I won another copy, so I'm good.
All right, so now we got this
and Metroid Dread. So.
Oh yeah, I bought Metroid Dread. I did end up selling it, but yeah, it was pretty good.
I played a little bit of it. It's a pretty scary game.
It leaves you. Ooh, Game Gear games and okay. You are spoiling me, my friend. You are spoiling me. Rocket Knight Adventures. Oh my god.
I'll throw it in there.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. We got US Gold presents Star Wars for the Game Gear. Not bad. Vampire Master Darkness. Damn. You are spoiling me, brother. Like, Jesus Christ.
If you're gonna you gotta go big or go home. If you're gonna do it right.
I just hope you didn't throw in Shakan, because like that's the one Game Gear game I actually do have. Fun fact,
I don't have that. No.
Fun fact, actually, one time met the creator of the Shakan comic at a Comic-Con near me. So that's just a little fun fact for you. Let's see here. Sega Genesis 6-button pad. You know, you can always do more of these. Is this a Model 2 power supply?
Yes, it is.
Nice. Yeah, the Game Gear I do have as a Model 2, so it's always good to have spares. Very nice. Let's see here. There's a Metroid Dread. I've got like limited space here, so I'm like kind of,
Yeah.
It's something bigger. Oh, holy! It feels like Christmas. By the way, I'll be taking a picture of like all of this and posting it on like Facebook later. Ooh, this is clean. This is clean.
Now that's not. That's the Sega Genesis, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, now that's not just an ordinary Sega Genesis. I wouldn't just throw that in there. No, this is a Sega Genesis that has been modded with the RGB triple bypass, and so this means that it's going to have a phenomenal sound and video quality compared to a regular Genesis.
And what hookup do I use for this?
It should be in there.
Okay. I'm like looking, and it looks normal to me. It's like super clean.
If you open it up though, you'd see the mod chip that's attached to the output there.
I'm gonna have to buy more Sega Genesis games. Oh dear.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's not the best. It's not the best, but it's a good start.
Oh, yes. This is a W. This is a motherfucking W right here.
So you can go ahead and hook that to a modern TV. You can just go ahead and start playing.
I just might.
Yeah, and everything's gonna look amazing.
Oh, I bet. Okay. I think I know what this is. Ooh, this thing's like, it's just like you know, this thing feels heavier than I'm used to. So this is a Game Gear.
All right, go ahead and pop a game in real quick.
Just pop a game in.
Just pop a game in, anyone.
All right, I'm just trying to see where I put. Okay. How the frick did I open this last time? Oh, I was upside down. All right. So I'm popping in Star Wars.
All right.
Your confidence is kind of a bit unnerving. The red button, right?
Go ahead and turn the switch.
Oh wow! Wow, that is bright.
Yeah, you can use the contrast wheel on the side to change the brightness.
So, okay, tell me what's been done to this.
All right, that is a fully modded Game Gear, meaning it has the LED has been completely replaced, or the LCD. I'm sorry, the LCD has been completely replaced. It has a new soundboard, new power board. If you look at the top, you'll see that it has a USB port.
All right, yeah, I see it, yeah.
Yeah, it has a USB-C port, and that goes to the internal rechargeable batteries.
Get out of here!
That's why it's so heavy. Yes. If you open up the battery case, you'll see there's internal batteries.
Now I've got to buy an EverDrive Game Gear. Thanks, man.
Yeah. If you hold down the start button, the number 2 button, and directional pad left, you can cycle through scan lines and resolutions.
Right. Start number 2 and start number 2
and left. I'll hold down and just hold it down.
Right. Mm-hmm. The picture looks really good.
Yeah, that's a brand new LCD. It better.
This looks really good. Oh wow, it looks pretty good with scan lines.
Yeah, and if you keep doing it, it'll cycle through and eventually get back to where you were.
Oh, that's integer. Yes, smaller now. Yeah, I'm just like now it's smaller with scan lines.
Turn that volume up. See how loud that son of a bitch can get.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Oh,
So so is this a win? Is this a win?
What's the difference?
No, I'm just saying, would you consider this a win?
Fuck to the yes. I haven't even gotten through everything yet either. Like, let me just put that like very carefully. Do you have any recommendations on like Game Gear carrying cases? That thing needs a carrying case.
I do believe that I think, don't quote me, I'll have to look it up, but if you go to handheldlegend.com, I think they actually might have
looks
cases.
like that is everything. So
yeah, that should be everything. Yep.
Yeah, that is oh my god, bro. Seriously. Also, yes, Michael, winner motherfucking chicken dinner. Like this is not getting monetized. This is not getting this is getting age restricted, and I don't fucking care. Oh dear God. I'll be taking a picture of all of this, and I will be posting on Twitter and tagging you. So Caster, put your anything you want me to link in the private chat, and I'll post it here right now. We'll give you a shout out. So Caster's on YouTube. Please, for the love of ever fucking God, follow this man. please follow him. Thank you, man. This made my night. Like, dear God. Oh, this is some good. Oh, seems like we may have lost him, but not before he sent his YouTube stuff. So, Caster, if you can see this, just kind of head back, follow the link, and I'll add you back into the show. Oh, there he is. What happened to you?
There, I hit done. I actually exited out of the app. Son of a bitch!
All right,
I was trying to link. Send a link.
It's all good. So here is Caster's channel. Michael, you said you wanted better friends, so there you go. Follow this man. Give this man your love. Like, please, for the love of God, follow this man. He is amazing. Seriously, bro. Like, that is some nice ass shit. Like, oh.
It kind of took a while to gather all this stuff.
But yeah, it's nice. Like I have a Game Gear, but like I think the caps are blown on it. I never got it to work.
Yeah,
I have
all capacitors on, like, it doesn't matter. Even if the Game Gear works, you change your capacitors. That's just rule number one, because Sega went very, very shitty with their capacitors, and they all have to be changed.
That's like pretty much any electronics in like the late 80s, early 90s, because like there was like a rash of really bad capacitors in like almost all electronics. It's like it's why like you gotta recap, like for example, if you're one of the lucky bastards to have a Turbo Express, you gotta recap.
Oh Jesus Christ. I have to rob a bank to get that.
Or like a Sega, like even the Sega Nomad, like that thing came out like 95, but even that thing probably has like pretty bad capacitors.
Oh yeah, definitely. It definitely does. Yeah.
I actually had a friend who had a Sega Nomad back in the 2010s. They were nice. I gotta be honest with you, they were pretty nice.
Yeah, they were pretty much the Switch before the Switch was a thing, because you could actually hook this thing up to a TV and it had an extra port, so you could play on the TV and play a player too.
And there's even another controller, like another controller port on it. You know, yeah, it's really really crazy.
Yeah.
So
Sega had this weird thing where they were like, they would do really good stuff, but then they would shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah. Plus, you also have the problem of Sega America and Sega Japan kind of being a little bit adversarial to a degree. Like,
yes.
Let's kind of have this discussion. So we're both huge Sega fans. So let's kind of have this discussion as equals. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I'm going to put forward an hypothesis, and we're going to kind of discuss it. My personal feelings about what did Sega in was the 32X. I feel like that was the thing. That was the thing that really killed them, because the 32X launched a domino of events to where even though the Dreamcast is literally one of the greatest consoles of all time, fight me. I mean, you probably at least are sympathetic to the Dreamcast, but like, because the problem with 32X was it came out like it was kind of actually it was a 1-2 punch. 32X and then releasing the Sega Saturn 6 months early. You know,
yeah.
I think it was those two things that really killed the Saturn, because I feel like if the 32X had never come out, okay, and the Saturn had released 6 months later, when around the time of the PlayStation, I don't think the Saturn would have beaten the PlayStation, but it might have held its own more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, see, that was the problem, was that Sega was kind of competing with themselves, because you basically had 32X, Saturn, and PlayStation all, vying for your money. And it was like, and you had people saying, well, why am I going to invest in this 32X system when, 6 months later, the freaking, more powerful machines coming by. So it made absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Objectively
and even
speaking,
during the Dreamcast, they shot themselves in the foot. Even during the Dreamcast development, because I think 3DO actually was working, like they're working with like two different companies for it. Like I just believe that if the scenario that like had happened, hey Master Sergeant, how you doing? I just kind of, since you're kind of new here, I want to kind of show off some of the stuff that Caster sent me. So this is a modded Game Gear he sent me. Let me just kind of pop it on real quick. Oh, it's just like that. That screen looks so good. Look how bright that is.
Yes, bask in the glory of it.
Sega. And then he sent me an RGB modded Genesis. It just Caster is being really good. And yeah, what are the names of those documentaries on Sega? Because like I'd actually be really interested in checking those out, because video game history is something that like yes, Sega. We're all huge Sega fans here. So I personally believe that if the Saturn would have done poorly, but like it wouldn't have been like as much of a train wreck. Also, Bernie Stolar saying Saturn is not our future really was not the right thing to say. And see, I'm not really a big Bernie Stolar hater. I feel like he's a little bit too blunt for his own good. That's my opinion. I feel like he's the person who really set up the Dreamcast for success in the U.S. Without him, I feel like thank you, Master Sergeant. I feel like without him, the Dreamcast wouldn't have been as successful in America, in my opinion. What are your thoughts?
Well, see, objectively speaking, I'm going to go back to the 32X. Objectively speaking, the 32X is actually a really good system in of itself. It's just it never should have existed. Yes, I do agree with that. Like, because within a year there was no support for it whatsoever. Absolutely. I believe, and now I'm trying to think here. I'm going back to like my YouTube watching here and trying to remember. I believe that Donkey Kong Country came out for the Super Nintendo the same time like the 32X was coming out, and I believe Donkey Kong Country just beat the ever loving shit out of the 32X, and that was.
Look at because like I mean, objectively speaking, all Donkey Kong was like digitized sprites. They weren't really technical, like outside of using Silicon Graphics workstations. They really weren't doing anything. Like I'd say Aladdin is probably more technically complex than Donkey Kong.
Oh yeah, it's fun. Genesis. That's the thing.
Aladdin. Well, yeah. I'm not saying Donkey Kong is a bad game. It's just
no, it's not. I know. I'm just saying that's the reason why I did so great is because it's awesome.
Awesome game with amazing graphics.
But then like when the Saturn came by, for some reason I don't know, the Saturn could do 3D games with polygons, but their bread and butter was the 2D.
It was meant to be a 2D system. It was meant to be a really good, and it shows. If you look at any like 2D or 2.5D game, they look amazing. In fact, like the fighting games ran better on the Sat, like the 2D fighting games, like your Marvel vs. Capcoms. They ran better on the Saturn than they did the PlayStation. That is an objective fact.
And if you had that RAM card, it just mwah.
Oh,
it was awesome.
Yes. I actually had one of those action replay cards. Those were really, really good.
Yeah. But then, but what I think was the ultimate downfall of Sega. I think they just got tired after the Dreamcast. They just packed it up because honestly, what killed the Dreamcast was pirating. Because they did not copy or encode their discs. So, anybody and everybody.
I slightly disagree with that. I mean, piracy was a problem. I just feel like, because I feel like it's kind of like a modern reinterpretation where it's like, it's like you get a Dreamcast, you have like a wallet sleeve full of bird games in like 2015, and you hold through like, this is why the Dreamcast failed. Whereas it's like, while CD burners were definitely getting a lot more common in 99, 2000, they were nowhere near as mainstream. Like, they weren't like, maybe by like 2003, you could find them in every laptop, but like 99, they were more commonplace, but they weren't mainstream.
Oh yeah. You had to connect to your computer. You had to buy a separate drive. Yeah.
And not only that, but downloads. Because like back in 99, pretty much I'd say 95% of people were still using dial-up. Dial-up, I mean, broadband didn't really become commonplace till like 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like when people bring up the piracy problem with Dreamcast, I don't know. I feel like there's kind of a little more nuance to that answer. I don't think it's like the big one thing.
But I mean, but I was gonna say, but anyways, but honestly, is there anything it could have done again? Because it had a whole year, like before the PlayStation 2 came out, and honestly, is there anything anybody could have done against the PlayStation 2? That fucking
actually, my theory here's what I would have done. By the way, Master Sergeant, those are all really good ones. I'm gonna need to write those down. I still have never seen King of Kong. I really need to see that. I know that's like a classic one. But like, I feel like the best thing the Dreamcast could have done was to wait a year, because there's two things that really kill the Dreamcast. Because graphically, it's actually not that far removed from the PlayStation, and
it's not.
Some stuff the two big things that hold the Dreamcast back are the optical media. Like if they would have waited a year and come out in Japan, and in Japan in 99 with a DVD drive standard. Also, their RAM was 16 megabytes. The PlayStation had 32 megabytes. I feel like if they would have upped the RAM to 32 megabytes and had a DVD drive, plus be able to watch DVD movies, they could have competed against PlayStation. I think, and the thing is, there's another thing you got to realize in this timeline scenario. If the Dreamcast never fails, the Xbox never comes out. Because the only reason the Xbox comes out is because the Dreamcast fails. The only reason. If the Dreamcast never failed, Microsoft would have never entered the game market.
Oh, and I'm just trying to imagine what would that be like, you know, just having a timeline where Sega never stopped.
My personal theory is Sega would have taken up the slot of Nintendo. I mean, not Nintendo, but like Microsoft. Because like the way I see it, Microsoft is the tech innovator. Because like Microsoft are really the ones pushing things forward on the tech front, while Sony kind of pushes things forward on the creative front, and then Nintendo is Nintendo. Because like Sega has always been a tech innovator, you know, like they had online capabilities back in the 80s for their consoles.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. They were just like they were always ahead of their time. I mean, you know, they were like the first. Well, I don't want to say the first, but they were like the you know, with the Sega CD. That was for a lot of people. That was the first time they had a gaming system that actually had CDs. You know, unless you bought like a giant multimedia, you know, behemoth. You know.
Yeah, and like Sega was really pushing online even during the Saturn times, and then the Dreamcast. But also, you look at like what Sega was planning for the Dreamcast. I mean, like for example, the MP3 attachment, or even the zip drive. The zip drive would have allowed it to compete with the Xbox, or the zip drive would have given it a leg up over the PlayStation.
Yeah, and I think with Dreamcast pushing, you know, its internet capabilities, I think it could have it definitely could have slipped in that place that Microsoft slipped into, because that's what the 360, you know, eventually that's what the 360 did or its biggest contribution to gaming was making multiplayer more accessible, and I think, you know, Dreamcast would have probably, you know, filled that niche.
And you want to know something? I honestly feel like we would have seen Netflix on the Dreamcast, like, because I feel like like Sega would have definitely pushed video streaming on like the Dreamcast, or like their next console after that, you know, the proverbial Dreamcast 2 or whatever it would have been called. They definitely would have jumped on that bandwagon, because Sony's online on the PS2 was honestly not that good.
Yeah,
you know, because it just Microsoft just won that generation just purely off of Xbox Live.
Well, I mean, you know, and talking about online, you know, the Dreamcast was not the first online system that Sega had. I mean,
the Saturn,
and even the Genesis in Japan had an online service.
Yeah, didn't the Master System have? Because I remember I was watching this like thing where like they're talking about the Genesis had a baseball game in like '89 that was online.
Yeah. Actually, you know, I'm sorry. There was a very small gaming service in America that was online with the Genesis.
I mean, actually, Sega was doing game streaming back in the '90s with Sega. Or what was it? You know what I'm trying to talk about? Like the Sega on-demand gaming service.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Yeah. I'm not sure what it was called, but yeah, but you
Atari. There wasn't a gaming service on demand for Atari back in the early '80s.
Yeah. So it was amazing of what we take for granted today, what they had back in the day, and it's absolutely amazing when you think about it, you know, because for the most part I had like, you know, an NES and the regular Genesis, so, you know, it wasn't until after the millennium is when I got into online gaming, you know.
Wasn't there some online stuff for the Famicom, like you could like check on like stocks, horse racing, and whatnot using the Famicom? I know the Super Famicom had the Satellaview.
I believe it did. Yeah, actually, I think it did. It actually had online capabilities, and I think, and I believe that maybe the NES had that capability at some point, or they were going to. Like I think they were. That's what they were. The bottom part that comes off. I think that's maybe what it was for. I
would not be surprised.
I may be misremembering it, but yeah, it's just amazing, you know, of all that stuff that, you know, we think is modern, in modern gaming, and it was all the way back, in the freaking 80s, where we're coming out of the Atari age.
The Expand modem, the Sharkwire online service for N64. I mean, hell, the 64 DD was online. That they intended that to come to America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They definitely, they were working on online service for the N64.
It's just crazy, honestly.
I think it was more ambition than what was what was actually feasible. I think that's really what it was.
And yes, Master Sergeant, yes, the 80s was the shiznit. That is correct.
yes, it was. I was there. Yeah.
I'm a 90s kid myself. Like, I was actually born in 87, so like I was born at like the tail end of it. I don't really remember the 80s, but like the 90s is more my time. But yeah, the 80s was amazing.
Oh, you mean okay. I thought you meant the 1880s. I'm sorry.
I know you're an immortal being, but please keep on topic.
The 1980s. Yes. Those are good times.
Yes. I'm sure the 1880s were pretty rad too.
Yeah.
So what kind of stuff do you talk about on your YouTube channel?
Well, I haven't done a video in like a month or two, but I really need to get to making videos because I've kind of slowed down here. But usually, I have a show that I do called the Retro Roundup, where I basically just show off things that I've collected through the week or the month or whenever I feel like doing it. If you follow me on Twitter, I do the mail calls every so often. That's usually what ends up in the Retro Roundup. We used to talk about anime, but I haven't done an anime video in probably since like 2021. I think it was like we were discussing redo of Healer of all things. But we do some kind of like modding videos where I do like a how to mod certain things like the Game Gear and the Game Boy and things like that. And I really do need to do the Sega Genesis triple bypass mod because I've done about 2 so far, and it's actually not really that hard to do. So I should do a video about that pretty soon. I just got to get myself another Genesis to work on.
Well, now that I have a good Genesis, I have like my crappy Genesis. I could always send you that one if you want like just something to experiment on.
Oh yeah. I definitely could do that.
The reset button doesn't really work on it, but otherwise it works just fine. It's not like it's my childhood Genesis or anything. I got it like 10 years or so ago, but like and now I have a good one, so I don't really have need for it, so I might as well send it to you.
Yeah, I think that one's like something I got like at a flea market. So
yeah, flea market fine. Like I haven't done flea marketing in forever because like I was flea marketing probably like from 2012 to about 2016 or so, and like I've dabbled in it since, and the good deals have really dried up. You got to look a lot harder to find the good stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there who've gotten wise to the retro gaming scene. So you're not going to pick up Silent Hill for $20 anymore. I'm sorry, it's over. Everybody figured out that those are really rare games and stuff.
I still hold the opinion that eventually game prices are going to crash. I feel like they really got bubbled up because of COVID and whatnot.
COVID is the big thing because before COVID, Pokemon Platinum went for like $40. Now it's like $150. Yeah.
Trust me, I remember this stuff. Like probably my most valuable game. I'm looking at it right now over there. Is Tumba 2: The Evil Swan Return for PlayStation, which is a legitimately like. Let me go grab it.
That's an expensive game right there. Oh my god.
Yeah, let me grab it for you. It's the only game that I haven't sold because like I go off of a metric of like how hard would it be for me to like re-grab it, and would I want to? And Tumba 2 is actually legitimately a very rare game.
Yes. Oh, very rare game.
You're about to drool.
Oh my god, it's sexy.
Yes, this is like $150 right here.
The first one's freaking expensive.
See, the second one is really the only one I have love for, because like I rented this as a kid and I loved it and never got to play it again. I always wanted to play it again. So it was kind of like this weird thing where a friend of mine in Chicago found it without the manual for like $40, and then I think I like paid him for it. And this was 2015, so
yeah.
And then a buddy of mine had the manual and gave it to me, so I kind of pieced this together. And I'm not planning on selling this because this is a really hard game to find. And like, because the thing is, like, there are some games, like for example, Castlevania Symphony of Night for the PS1. That's an expensive game, but it's not that hard to track down. Like, if I wanted to find Symphony of the Night, I'd have to pay like $100 for it, but it's not that hard to get. Yeah. This one is legitimately rare.
It's at least $200-$300 going on eBay. $200-$300? Oh yeah. Let me see if I can figure this out.
So yeah, I guess I'm flexing right now, but yeah.
That's actually like if you were to say, that would be what we call a heavy hitter.
I mean, I feel like it only really became a heavy hitter recently because like it was always like a rare game, but not really many people really cared about it. Like before COVID, it was like a $40 to $60 game, and now it's like really expensive. Like this was never a PlayStation, like because PlayStation is really like the systems that I always loved to collect for were PlayStation, PSP, and then some DS games because I'm a big handheld guy. But PlayStation was really my main system. That was the system that I loved to collect for because that's what I had as a kid, like as a teenager.
Okay, it fluctuates from the lowest I've seen is $100, but no manual. But if you get it complete, I'm seeing it up to like $220. There's somebody trying to sell it for $300, so it just depends. But yeah, it's at least $100.
Yeah. I always thought it was like $150 game. But yeah, I mean this is complete.
Yeah.
Let me just kind of open it up real quick. I'm being careful. All right, just kind of show people like there's the disc, there's the manual. It's not like perfect condition, but it's pretty decent. I'd say it's like an 8 or 9 out of 10. Like it's not perfect. It's got some like sticker residue right here, I mean that's easily cleaned up. But like honestly, it's not that bad. It's probably a solid 8 out of 10. I'd say.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is like a $200 game. It's crazy. Yeah. I didn't think it was that much. I thought it was like a $150 game, but
yeah, it fluctuates. Depends on like what you could probably get for it. But there's people who always ask stupid amounts. Like someone here has one new sealed, never been opened, and they're selling it for $999.
I mean, sealed collecting is kind of a whole different animal, honestly.
Yeah.
Probably the only other cool game I have. I don't really think. All right, let me just kind of put that there. Let me just grab. Like, I have a couple other PS1 games. They're kind of like bog standard. But the only other like cool game I have. I don't think this is. Let me see. This I want to grab. It's fine for right now. I don't think this is valuable per se, but it's still cool. It's got dust on it, but.
Oh, Police Nuts.
Yeah, like I don't think this is valuable, but it's cool. It's a Japanese PS1 game. It's Police Nuts. It's just cool. Like. Yeah, all the rest of the stuff I have is pretty bog standard. Most of my valuable games I sold during COVID because like they were just kind of sitting on my shelf and I wasn't really doing anything with. I was like, this is literally the most expensive it'll ever be, so why not cash in?
Yeah.
What was the most valuable game you've ever owned?
The most valuable game that I've ever owned is also the most valuable game that I currently own, and that is Metal Storm CIB for the NES. It is at least $700.
Mine was Panzer Dragoon Saga disc only. Yeah, that's a real heavy hitter.
Yeah.
I paid, I believe, $200 for it back in 2013. I think I ended up selling it for like 2013. Basically, it was kind of like when I was starting to get kind of lean away from retro collecting, because like the problem I have with retro collecting, it's a very flex heavy culture. Like it's like your value in the communities and in some circles is defined by like what rare games you have, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like I own Earthbound. Shut up. Your opinion is invalid. You know, do you own Earthbound? You know, kind of thing.
Well,
and it's just
in any community, there are douchebags. But honestly, I think if I right now in today's climate with retro collecting, my suggestion would be to just go loose on things. Like, you know, if you're going to get Sega Genesis games, go loose because you're going to get them a lot cheaper.
That's what I've always done with Sega Genesis.
Yeah,
I buy PS like basically the cartridge games. I always get loose because you know it's fine. It's just the disc-based games that I insist on buying complete in box because it's a disc. Yeah, and it's just so much easier to like manage the game when it's a disc when you have it with the case. And it's the same thing with like DS game, like DS games. I would prefer like DS, 3DS, Game Boy games. I buy loose, but like those cartridges are so freaking small that like you could manage them without the case, but it's a lot easier.
Yeah. So,
yeah, but
that's usually what I would suggest is like anything cartridge based, like you know the NES, the Super NES, things like that. Just go loose because you could probably get a heavy hitting game and get it for relatively cheap, you know.
Yeah, I've never really was like when it comes to those cartridge games because like those cartridge boxes are so like fragile. Like, I mean, the only complete in box games I sometimes thought is like the hard shell Sega games because those are pretty easy to manage, but it's so easy to ding up a like soft cardboard shell that I don't even worry. I don't even deal with it.
And see, that's what I do with my I have a ton of cardboard box games, and they go into a plastic protector because they're for looking. If I really need to play it, I'll just get a loose copy.
Yeah.
So
like I think the only time I'd buy a complete box copy of a game is if it's like one of my favorite games of all time. Like I actually own the box for Golden Sun and Golden Sun Lost Age. I got a really good deal at a game store, but even they're kind of banged up. I love Golden Sun. Golden Sun is my favorite game. I'm probably going to rebuy it complete in box. Like that's a game that I would like display on a shelf, because like it's purely decorative. It's I'll pay the money for that. But if I'm planning on playing it, it's just better to, And most of these games are just like shelf fodder, so it's just like I'm not going to spend $200 for complete. Well, maybe I don't know about like complete black copy of Glover for the N64 just for it to go on my shelf.
Yeah.
I'll buy Glover loose and then put it in like a universal case and then print a label, put that on my shelf. Sure, that works.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I come at it from a player's perspective. That's kind of where I come from.
Yeah, and it just depends. Like, you don't have to be the guy with the giant game room to be a retro collector. You can just have a bunch of loose copies. Honestly, just do it how you like.
You could be a person with a modded PSP with like a big retro collection, and you can be a retro enthusiast that way. There's so many
no wrong
ways
way to do it.
I agree. Yeah. For me, probably if I were to say what my preferred method would be, I would prefer to either use a MiSTer or original consoles modded with an EverDrive.
Yeah. And see, now me, I'm kind of old school. I like a original hardware with original software, but as a lot of people know, that can be expensive. So it's tread carefully, but there is no wrong or right way to retro collect.
No, there isn't.
But I do I do hate the snootiness in the retro community because even the emulator bros can be snooty because you'll sit there and go, wow, look at this awesome modded Sega Genesis I have, isn't it great? And they're like, I'll just emulate it. Like, okay, well, fuck me.
See, the thing that I really have a problem with is the people who use game preservation as an argument for emulation. They're like, I'm just trying to preserve games. No, you're not. You just want to play. You just want to play a Pokemon ROM hack.
Yeah, so please don't stop the moral posturing. That's what I say.
And the game, I agree, and I agree with game preservation. And the thing that's really holding it back is this freaking attitude of they try like I actually listen to a lot of the podcasts, and like for example the Video Game History Hour, and Frank Cifaldi, he seems like a nice guy, but he has like some really bad takes on Twitter. Like for example, when the when they announced that the Nintendo 3DS shop was closing, he was like, "This is a terrible thing for game," just like this. See, this is a problem with I'm sorry, I'm all over the place.
That's all right. Go ahead.
Like this is the problem with like digital storefronts, and I actually think we're going to see a move. I think we're already starting to see a move back towards physical. I really feel like
definitely
that because I think people are realizing that your digital libraries are not going to be there forever, and even the streaming people, things are just moving around, all this stuff. I think we're going to see a move back towards physical within the next 5 years. Like for example, it's already been happening in the music scene. Like record sales, outpace CDs for the first time ever. That's great. We're, like tapes, cassettes already kind of are starting to make a comeback. And honestly, I think in 5 to 10 years, CDs are going to make a comeback. I still have a wall of CDs right there, but
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing is like I guess I'm kind of an old person because I never knew that CDs left. So I'm just like, what?
You can still walk into Walmart and buy CDs right now.
Yeah, that's why people are like, oh, you buy CDs. I'm like, how do you get your music? And they're like, oh, I get it off iTunes and all that. And I'm like, well, yeah, okay, okay.
I think I have the Stranger Things season 1 soundtrack on CD. Stranger Things on CD, like. Just wrap your head around that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at I got my CDs right there. I'm looking at it. I'm just like, oh, this is perfect. This is perfect. Okay. Like you want to see how recent CD releases are? Oh, this is perfect. This is perfect. And then here's that. Let's see, what else do I want to grab while I'm literally right here? All right, these two are fine. Oh, all right. So I got 2 soundtracks here. For Ragnarok on CD.
Yeah.
And then Stranger Things. CDs are still around.
Oh, vinyl records are still around. I mean, they still make.
Well, vinyl records kind of came back though. That's the thing about vinyl records. They were gone for about, I'd say, 20 years. Because remember, vinyl records basically died out. I'd say early 90s at the very latest, because cassettes really took over in the mid 80s, and then CDs kind of took over in the early to mid 90s.
Because CDs that's the thing. That's the thing. But vinyl has always kind of been there, but it's kind of been under the radar because they still today they release new material on vinyl.
My argument is vinyl kind of went underground.
Yeah,
that's the 90s, 2000s.
Yeah, that's kind of where it went. It went underground.
It went back in the mainstream. I'd say mid 2010s. Because really didn't start to see new releases on vinyl because it started to become commonplace until I'd say 2015 or so, roughly around there. I mean, hell, there's people releasing new music on mini disc.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Mini disc is a format that I really wish had caught on because it's actually a really cool format. I'd say that to me, it's the best of both worlds when it comes. They're the best of cassettes and they're the best of CDs. It's kind of the best of both worlds, in my opinion. Yeah. But yeah, so anything else you want to say?
I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, just want to go in here and kind of go over with what was sent to you, and see your reaction.
It's some good shit. I will say that. So thank you for joining me, Caster. Let me just post your channel one more time.
Okay, it was a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure. I got to have you on my main show at some point. So we'll talk about that later. So thank you, Caster. And
thank you very much.
Nick from the Phoenix Press. And remember, I can only show you the door. You're the one to walk through it.